Justin Thurman has committed to Notre Dame, and that's part of the reason that we wanted to do our show today. It is now being reported. I don't know that Justin has necessarily reported it yet, but it is now out there. I wonder if Justin did it on Instagram or not. But we had a chance to talk to Justin this morning and talk to him about his decision and picking Notre Dame. So that's kind of why we left running back off of this equation so far.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's noticed. We haven't talked about running back yet. The 25 class.
Because we knew that Justin was going to commit, and so Justin Thurman is committed to the University of Notre Dame. There, he just went public with it. So Vince, just kind of quickly do that, and I'm going to tweet this story out.
Yeah, so obviously Justin Thurman, the 2025 running back, we talked about him yesterday, Ryan and I, and Ryan is in the chat right over there. And we talked about how he left the Grill and Chill in a great place. Yeah. And Notre Dame was in the driver's seat and obviously drove him to commit. I mean, 2 days later.
And look, I mean, all honesty, we can say it now because, some things Ryan is correct. The Grill and Chill was the final thing. Sure. But the thought was he was coming to see if this was definitely what he wanted to do, right? Like he came into the visit with the thought of, if everything checks out, then I'm going to end it. Not that he was coming to commit, but just kind of like what we're talking about, like Davis Andrews, right? Is the kid making this decision? Is he visiting to make a decision or whatever the case may be? And you kind of dive into it that way. So with Justin, it was, he thought this was the move he wanted to make, but he wanted to get back up here one more time and just really make sure that this is what he wanted to do. And he did. And now he is in the class. And he's a very intriguing player, Vince. When you look at Justin Thurman and you look at some aspects of him that you say, boy, like I know my guy Brandon, he's got these other running backs that he definitely loves and wants over Justin. And I get it because Justin hasn't played a ton, right? But what Justin is at this point is very talented and dynamic. He's already got 10.8 at speed. We talked about this. His 100-meter dash time as a sophomore is the same as Braden Lindsey's was as a sophomore. And that's the body type that to me is most similar to Justin. And I was going to sit here and tell you all the reasons why Justin was going to want to, commit to Notre Dame. But Vince, I think you and I just decided it'd probably be best to just have Justin come on and explain why he committed to Notre Dame. So
it's a great idea.
We are now joined by Justin Thurman. Justin, thank you so much for being on with us, man.
How are y'all both doing?
We are doing great, man. We are doing phenomenal. We are obviously here with a bunch of Notre Dame fans ready to talk about it. One thing that Notre Dame fans love, Justin, is they love speed. And certainly you bring a little bit of that to the table, man. So let's get into this, though, first. We were talking about sort of your decision-making process and the fact that you didn't necessarily come into this conversation or this visit this past or this I should say summer process saying, okay, I'm going to take my visits. I'm going to make my decision by the end of my sophomore year. Talk us through the process of what it was like, Notre Dame getting involved and offering you, and then what led to this decision to say, hey, you know what? I know where I'm going. Let's get this thing over with.
So basically, after the two visits that I took, the first one being back in June, and then this one being just this past weekend, it just felt like home. I mean, in terms of just the culture, academics, the program, and the people, it just felt like it was the best place for me holistically, and it felt like it was the right fit, and just in terms of everything. And I believe that it's the right environment for me to be in for the next 4 years.
Now, when you look at the decisions, the factors that went into your decision, I know for you it wasn't as simple as who's got the best offense, and there's a whole lot of things. So when you went into this, what were the factors, the key factors? Say, this is what I'm looking for in a college. This is what a college that I'm going to commit to has to have, and how well did Notre Dame check those boxes?
I mean, Notre Dame checked off the boxes really well in terms of the culture, academics, program. and the people too. The culture there, the golden standard that they have is absolutely amazing. Just it's like a mentality that they have, that they hold the coaches and the players to that standard, and that's what helps them be so successful. And then in terms of the academics, I know Notre Dame has a long history of strong academics, and specifically for me, what I want to major in real estate, they have a very good real estate program there, and that's really that's what I'm really interested in and what I want to do after football. And in terms of the people, the environment is like it's like a family environment. Coach Freeman is definitely a player's coach, and with him also too, having 6 kids, he understands how important family is. So I believe that the environment, not only just Coach Freeman, but Coach McCullough and all the rest of the coaching staff, make it a warm, welcoming environment that has a lot of camaraderie, and it's just one that's is just always just at the top.
Justin, I want to add, you talked about relationships, you talked about the coaches and the family. Give us a little bit of background with your relationship with the coaches. How did it start? How did it grow? Like, how, I'm sure that was a big part of your decision, but your relationship with the coaches.
So my relationship, first of all, with Coach McCullough, it started when he first offered me in May, back in the spring during spring ball, and from there we just really just grew the conversation and grew the relationship, and we just continued to build, and he showed me how I would fit into the Notre Dame offense, and also too showed me how I would fit into Notre Dame in the school. And then he also not only just talked about football, but just talked about life and just how to be a better man, be a better person for the people around you, and just teaching me the things like a father. He also mentioned too during my weekends that you may not be looking for a father figure, but I'm going to treat you like a son. And that's what he really does with his players. And I believe that, that's just one of the great aspects about him. And then for Coach Freeman, he's a player's coach. And I believe that the way that he interacts with his players and the players' families and just the families in general is just great. And he's just always just open and welcome to everybody. And I believe that that mentality and also too just the aspect of him is what makes Notre Dame and the program so great.
Was your first trip to Notre Dame for the camp this summer? Was that the first time you'd been on campus?
Yes.
What was that experience like for you? Because I know I was there. We had a chance to see you in person. Actually, Vince, were you there that day, or were you with Dylan at the at one of his things? So I don't know if you were there. Yeah. It put together a heck of a performance. Athletically, I was telling people here, like, they had the broad jump thing, and I said Justin was one of 2 kids that actually out jumped they had like the set up, and it only went a certain length, and you actually went just beyond it. So they had to kind of stretch it a little bit to get a proper measurement, which just kind of shows your explosiveness. But just overall, what was that experience like for you, and how did that factor in, or did it factor in to just the process of, this is where I want to be?
So it did factor into my decision, because the working with Coach McCullough and getting the opportunity to see how he coaches, he's very detailed and specific about what his expectations are, and just the way that he coaches is just very specific in terms of his details and his feedback, and just how he just coaches up his guys. And I believe that that's something that's the way I want to be coached, and that's the reason why I chose Notre Dame.
The real estate thing is interesting, because Notre Dame had another commitment. Actually, the last 2 commitments that Notre Dame has had, both are guys that have interest in real estate. I see Kingston Viliama Asa is the other one, or Ace is the other one. You're a rising junior high school. What made this be something that you're interested in doing? Obviously, living in Florida, about booming real estate right now. But what was it that really attracted you to this kind of being something you wanted to pursue?
To be honest with you, it's been something that I don't know. It just dawned on me that, like, when I was a little kid, that I just always wanted to be interested in properties, and just how you can flip them around and make them like twice the value that they were before, and just being able to own and sell properties to people, and also to help people out in the community too, who may not be able to afford such properties and like that. So that's just always something that I've always wanted to do.
That's really cool. Very cool. When you look at the decision-making process, we've talked about a lot of other things. You've talked about academics. You've talked about the relationships and the fit. Football has to be a part of it too, right? When you look at Notre Dame and you say, okay, what was the vision that was what was given to you for how you fit? And then also, how do you see yourself fitting into the offense? Because obviously you could say, hey, I love the school and I love this, but the offense they run, man, that just doesn't fit what I do. Obviously, you didn't feel that way about Notre Dame. So what was it that you saw about this Notre Dame offense that you said, hey, I can play there, I fit there, my skills will translate to what they do?
I saw that, and specifically for the running backs, I saw how they utilized them, and just not only in the run game, but also too in the pass game too. They really utilize their running backs to their fullest potential with each skill set. And even though each running back may have a different skill set, they use those skill sets to their advantage so that they can put themselves in the best position for success and towards a win. So I believe what the skill sets I have, I can contribute to that even more and help the team to win and try to get to a national championship.
So you do a little of everything. Obviously, this past year, Tampa Jesuit, you had a very interesting situation. Obviously, you had a senior running back who just signed with Temple, was a 1,000-yard rusher. So you were asked to play running back. You're asked to catch the ball. You're asked to play defense.
Yes.
If y'all haven't watched, Justin can stick. We showed that on film, and you had, I think, I can't remember count, like 7 or 8 different just tackles on kick coverage. Did a little bit of everything last year. What did you learn about yourself as a football player last year, kind of being asked to do so many different things where, maybe this year you're going to be maybe the lead back, but, last year you had to do a lot of different things. What did you learn about yourself, about the game from that experience last season?
I would say, playing multiple positions and playing both sides of the ball, it really, I would say it opened my perspective on how to play the game, and honestly being able to see how the other side of the ball sees the game actually helps me better have a better way of playing on the offensive side. So because I know exactly what the defense is looking for in terms of like formations with the offense and what each player is assigned to be doing, it's just easier for me to basically see what the defense is doing so I can figure out a way to basically make a best play on them.
So as you talk about going into your junior year now, what are the parts of your game that you're most looking forward to showing that you've worked? Because obviously you've worked on it already. Your fall camp started for you yesterday, right? But
Yes.
What are the parts of your game that you spent the most time this offseason really building, and that you're looking forward to showing off this year? Now that you're going to, the expectation is that you're going to get a lot more opportunities now that Joquez is going off to Temple.
I would say definitely, the main thing is my speed. I want to showcase that I can eliminate angles and just blow through people too. Being a hard runner, a violent runner, people have described me running like an angry man. And
I get that.
So I want to definitely showcase that I can, get yards after contact too. Being able to catch the ball out of the backfield, being able to just make a man miss out in the open field. And just be a versatile back overall, and just showcasing all the skill sets that I have.
So, Justin, one thing I wanted to ask you, you brought up pass game. So I don't remember most of the film I saw from you as a sophomore of you catching the ball was like little slides and swings and screens and stuff. We're going to show the folks your spring game. And so we're going to show that violence and then also that ability to get the edge, and guys think they have an angle and they really don't when you're running around the corner. But you also called a touchdown pass down the field. Do you feel like that's going to be a bigger part of what you're going to be asked to do this year? Because was that part of kind of what went into, is like, hey, I want to show that I can catch the ball, not just catch the ball on a screen and on a swing, but that I can be lined up and moved all around the field. And then how does that help you kind of look at how you fit into the next program? Because look at Notre Dame, they got 2 really good running backs last year. But do you feel like, hey, if I can build this part of the game, you can play us together. Forget a rotation. You can put us in the field together. I mean, is that kind of something that went into the process for you to really improving that part of your game this offseason?
Yes, it did.
That's good. That's good. I'm looking forward, because you're going to be able to use that speed in a lot of different ways, right? I mean, that's the big thing and it's nice. I mean, look, I know you're not afraid of contact. We saw that on defense and on special teams. But it's nice sometimes to get out in space where you're not always getting hit by defensive tackles and linebackers. Take on a couple corners every now and then, man. So that's good. So, Justin, what's next for you? Obviously, fall camp. You're in fall camp, but from a recruiting standpoint, are you looking to get up to Notre Dame this fall? Or are you going to be looking to try to help, this 25 class? Is there a, I don't know, like a quarterback in Tennessee, moving to Tennessee, you may want to give a call? Like what's up next for you, man?
Well, I would definitely that.
A little bit leading question there, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. My plan is for in terms of just the recruiting aspect, also to be ambassador for the 2025 class. Just basically, if any, just being an ambassador for those who are interested in Notre Dame and those who have offers from Notre Dame, and just making them feel welcome and making them feel like they can be a part of this program, and just also to helping them with any questions or that they have about the program or how the recruiting process works. I'll just be there as an ambassador to help. And then in terms of this season, I'm just looking forward to showcasing my skills and helping my team to potentially get to a state championship and win that game. We have a pretty good team. We got a lot of young guys, but I believe that with great coaching and just great, I would say, just being great teammates to each other and just hard work, I believe we could put something great together this season in Tampa Jesuit.
You guys got what, semis last year, or did you get to the state game last year?
So we made it to the state semifinals, and we played against St. Thomas Aquinas.
Gotcha. So yeah, you guys got a lot, because you people think private school, but there's some really good private schools in Florida, especially kind of on that western coast of Florida, where you guys are, and Aquinas is a little south of you guys, right?
Yes, that's in southeast Florida.
Yeah, so certainly a lot on your plate, man, and we'll let you get back to that. But are you kind of happy this process is over, or kind of what are your thoughts on that? I mean,
I'm just to be honest with you, I'm just that happy that I'm announced where I'm going and announcing where which school is the best fit for me, which is Notre Dame, and just that. Whenever I went up there, it just felt like home. It just felt like it was the right fit for me, and it felt like it was the right place to basically just spend my next 3 to 4 years at, not only on the field but also off the field. And it just felt like it was just the right place for me holistically in terms of every aspect of the school.
Now, I know this is a little bit down the road. Last question is, do you plan on going on a track to try to get into school a little bit early, like as an early enrollee that spring semester, or are you going to be a guy that's, because I know for you it's a little different, Justin, because track is a big thing for you. So I wasn't sure if you were going to try to do your senior year of track, or if you were going to get to Notre Dame early. Have you thought about that process yet, or is it still a little early?
So I would plan on running track my senior year, especially due to Jesuit doesn't allow early enrollment.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So I would have to go basically show up to Notre Dame or arrive at Notre Dame in June.
Gotcha. Okay, so that kind of answers that question for you. Yeah, so that's good. And track is obviously you're right now you're this obviously sprinter. Is that kind of where you're going to stay? Just kind of in the 100, 200. Do you do hurdles? I know you do
I don't do hurdles, but I do the 4x1. So
you do the 4x1. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Well, Justin, thank you so much for coming on us, man. Congratulations on this decision. Very excited about it. I know Notre Dame fans love getting speed. They love running backs. They love getting kids from Florida. And maybe one of these days somebody in the chat's going to be looking to buy a house from you one of these days. So who knows? Way down the road, though. Way down the road. But congratulations, man, and good luck in fall camp.
Thanks. And thank you for the time on here.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Justin.
Take care. Take care.
So that is Justin Thurman, folks. That is a really good kid, Vince.
Oh my gosh! Obviously, this is the first time that I've been able to hear him speak and have a conversation with him, and I mean, he just knocks it out of the park. I mean, and we're not even talking about his athletic ability. So he's going to be a good fit at Notre Dame. There's no doubt about it. And I'm happy that we were able to introduce him to the chat and to the Notre Dame community, because
we've had him on. I mean, I know Ryan had him on and Brian Smith had him on, and he's a really sharp kid. He really is a sharp kid. And so he and I talked today, and he was all about coming on. So
it's great.
Really good football player. And it's funny, when Brian Smith first brought him up to me, we were talking several months ago, and he's like, this is the most Notre Dame kid you'll find in Florida. That was one of the first things Brian Smith said to me, because Brian had a chance to meet the kid. And you all saw it. I mean, just sharp, thoughtful, engaging. Already has his future planned out, and apparently he's had that planned out since he was a kid. I love it when a kid who's a sophomore in high school basically says, when I was a kid. I'm like, my man, you're still a kid.
Right.
But he doesn't seem like it. He doesn't talk
Right,
like it. He doesn't think
exactly.
like it. Like, this is a very mature young man, and I wanted Notre Dame fans to just get another sense of that now that he's in the class.
Sure.
You see what kind of an impressive young man he is. He really,
I have a kid that exact same age, 2 floors up, and I'm not sure he could give that kind of an interview. So I was very impressed with Justin and what he brings to the table. That's for sure.
And as far as the football player, Vince, I mean, obviously we announced that he was going to be, well, not we announced, like, we broke it, but like we broke it to y'all in the chat,
Right.
that Justin had committed to Notre Dame. We look at running back, Vince, and it's a very interesting scenario because right now the need is only one, but he still has 2 years of high school left, and a lot can change between
Sure.
now and then. But when you look at the class impact of getting Justin in the class, Vince, it was one of those things where you really only needed one. So you can focus on getting like an elite guy now, or you look for a skill set, a uniqueness to it. And Notre Dame is basically what they're doing here is they're taking a little bit of a flyer.
Sure.
Is they're saying, this is a kid that was buried behind a Division I running back, didn't play a ton, but we see elite skill. And we're going to try to get him before anybody else can figure it out.
There it is.
While Bama and Florida State and Miami and Florida chasing the knowns, we're going to take a kid who's a little bit under the radar compared to other top backs, and we're going to get on him now because what Notre Dame is clearly trying to do at recruiting running back is adding speed. I mean, Jadarian Price, Jabron Payne, Kedron Young, and now this kid. And Aeneas Williams isn't slow by any stretch of the imagination. He's just a little bit more quick than he is a burner, but he's still a kid that can run. They are trying to add a lot of explosive athleticism. And this is a kid that's a top 250 recruit already and only rushed for like 200 yards last year.
Right.
And the only reason he's a top 250 recruit after rushing for only 200 yards is because people see one thing. That kid can absolutely fly as a football player. And I think that is what Notre Dame was looking for. And I do think that they saw a little something this summer that he's a put together kid, right? And he's a very cut up, chiseled kid. Still thin, 185, 190 pounds, but he's a kid that's going to he's going to be over 200 pounds easily by the time he gets to Notre Dame. And I think they saw that too. So they're betting on their evaluation of this kid. There's some more highly ranked running backs out there, but for whatever reason, the Notre Dame staff and Dylan McCullough especially just fell in love with this kid early. Yeah. And so as of right now, there's one running back. Now, a lot can happen between now and the next year with the current roster. Injuries, transfers, early NFL departures, things along those lines. So you don't really know if it's going to stay at 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame still recruits like perhaps like Usman Kroma. I could maybe see them staying on him, James Simon, a couple other guys. But this is a kid that they absolutely wanted. And if they only end up with one back in this class, they're perfectly content and fine with Justin Thurman being that back. There's no doubt about that, Vince.
Well, and he's going to have an opportunity, obviously, over the next 2 years to be the guy, right? And he's going to have also an opportunity. I mean, if he's a top 250 kid right now with the little bit of film that he has and, not being able to specialize at a position, I mean, good gracious, what's going to happen over the next 2 years when he is the guy that's getting the rock and he's going to be the focus of this offense? You know what I mean? So, plenty there. It feels like it's a high floor, high ceiling kind of a situation for Notre Dame, and they're all in on him.
But that's kind of what they got to do, Vince. I mean, what are the odds that Notre Dame is going to go down to Florida or Texas or somewhere else and get a 5-star running back that's getting bags thrown at him and all this? This is the thing that people have to understand is until Notre Dame has that title under their belt, this is the kind of kid they have to thrive with. That right now he's not ranked real high, but this kid's got a lot of talent. And I want to bring up we're not going to watch a full film session again because we already broke his film down in a previous show a couple weeks ago. But I did want to pull up his spring film from their spring game. And I think you're going to get a chance to see kind of what Vince and I are talking about here as far as this kid's home run ability and the improvements catching the football. This is the first run. Watch him get to the corner. And then he turns on the afterburners a little bit there. Like he just glides into the end zone. 62-yard touchdown run on that particular play. And then he's got this is the touchdown catch right here. I believe. He also has a couple pass pro plays on here too. But just look at the get off there, Vince, though, right? I mean, not really sure what he's doing yet running routes, but look at that burst off the line. I mean, he's got some juice. He really has some juice.
Well, he doesn't need to know what he's doing. If he's
Yeah.
just out running
Right.
linebackers.
And
So,
he'll learn it, right? I mean, he's
of
a
course.
rising junior. He'll learn all that. So, but this is a kid, and he's got some agility. He's not a super sudden guy, but he can cut. He's a slasher type of back. He does run with good power. You know who his running style reminds me of, like the herky jerky nature. Does this not scream Josh Adams? The way he's
straight up,
running
kind
right
of
now?
that's kind of standing up tall.
Yeah, but just like
that's
the
what
little
track
bit,
kids do.
little
Track
bit more
kids,
herky jerky,
like
than fluid.
Like
But
200
that's
meter
what-
guys, they
Yeah.
run kind of straight up like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot of Josh Adams as far as his
I could see it.
his running style, not running back style, but just how he runs is
Right.
more of what I'm referring to in that standpoint. But yeah, this is a kid. This is a pass pro right here. He steps up, takes on a D tackle right there. Nice little find that cover 2 holder, QB. Nice job.
Uh-huh.
Nice job. And he plays in a good area. So this is a kid with a lot of ability, Vince, and a lot of potential, I should say.
Sure.
And you see that speed, because that's the one thing you can't teach, Vince. Like, I can teach footwork, I can teach a lot of things to a running back, but what I cannot teach is I can't teach you to be a 4.4.
Yeah, exactly.
And you either have it or you don't, right? Now
Sure.
I can enhance some of that a little bit, but yeah, you either have it or you don't.
Well, and a lot of college football recruiting is now turning to kind of like the NBA draft, right? They
Mhm.
draft on potential, and
Yeah.
this is a bit of a commitment on potential, right? I mean, let's be honest. And I think the tools are there on and off the field to be a great fit at Notre Dame, but they're kind of committing on potential, right? And
Right.
so, but they've got 2 years to.
This is the playoff game from
Okay.
last year. Kerry, he had in the playoff game, and you're
He's
going
in
to
the
see an
slot.
example of that
Oh,
too.
there he is.
A little bit
Okay.
of that too, Vince, where you see it. So yeah, there's you see just kind of that patience, nice hard running style, and he's just kind of got that speed, man. He doesn't look like he's fast, like he's moving fast, but then he does move fast.
Like
So
a high formation.
yep, this is a kid, and then you see the kind of the hard grinding style there.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of tools. And this is a playoff game. This isn't this is him running down on the kickoff. So I just wanted to show this playoff game last year. First round of the playoff, I believe. And you see him making a tackle here on special teams. So he's a good football player, man. Now, how good will he end up being? That's an unknown, right? And that's the part that you were talking about, Vince, is they are taking a little bit of a chance, because we don't know that he can be a 20 carry guy at the high school level or college level. We haven't seen him do it yet. We don't know that he can get through an entire season and do all those kind of things. But here's what we know: he's a great kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's a smart kid. He is fast. He's physical, and he's willing to do whatever his team asks him to do to win. And that cannot be dismissed. This is a kid that could easily have gone somewhere else and said, "I want to be the guy somewhere else," and he could have done it. But he said, "Nope, I'm going to do what my team's asking me to do." I mean, that's him lead blocking right there, Vince. And you like guys like that.
Yeah, special teams, blocking, just doing everything.
Yeah. Catching pass. I mean,
I love that.
That's what I think sold Notre Dame. And then they see the talent, the physical talent. The spring game was impressive. They say, "Hey, we're willing to take a chance on a kid like this because we think he's got all the talent in the world." And Justin, he does. He's got a ton of talent. There's no doubt.
So what does this commitment mean for the class of 25? Brian, because that's kind of what this whole show was about the class of 25. We purposely didn't talk about running back. Now we are. So what does this commitment mean? They were aiming for 1. Maybe they get 2 down the road, but what does this mean for the class?
Well, what it means for the class, Vince, is they are adding impact players already in the 25 class. I mean, we've talked about how Florida is an issue for Notre Dame. Well, they just got their second running back from Florida, although he's not a Florida lifer. Like I believe he's from Missouri. I believe. Originally, I don't believe he's a Florida lifer, but Nate Roberts, when we broke him down, the tight end, we talked about, this is a big play tight end. This isn't he looks like a throwback tight end. Nate Roberts does. Like when you look at him, he's like, Midwestern kid, thick neck and all that. But then you watch him run, you're like, this kid can run, right? This kid can really make big plays. And so you got a big play tight end. You've got a big play running back. And that's what Notre Dame is shooting for is they're again trying to be more and more explosive as a football team, and they're recruiting to that. That's why you recruit Cam Williams. That's why they recruited Logan Saldate, even though other people might have liked the more highly ranked guys. One of the reasons they recruited Aeneas Williams, and one of the recruits they recruited Kedrick Young and Jeremiah Love and Braylon James and guys like that. It's like you're trying to be a more explosive football team. And a kid like this can be is an explosive player because like last year's running backs or the 24 running backs, Kedrick Young is a bell cow type of runner. He is a more Audric Estime than he is Chris Tyree, for example, from a volume standpoint, right? Aeneas Williams is a little bit of a do-it-all guy. So a kid like Justin Thurman with that speed, Vince, is he's a little bit like what we talked about Jadarian Price being for this Notre Dame 2023 football team. Even if he's your number 3, you still figure out a way to get him touches because he can do with 5 carries what other people need 15 to do because of that speed. And Justin brings that kind of potential where early in his career, even if he's not your 1 or your 2, you can still find a role for him as a returner, as a third down guy, as a just, get him in there and get him 5 touches and hope that he gets 1 crease. Because with the way that Notre Dame blocks, he just needs like that. That's it.
Exactly.
And it's strike up the band.
Right.
And that's what they're clearly looking for. And we talked about the need to have another strong offensive class. And the part of the reason why is because this is another step towards that, right? And it's a really important step. Very good step. You get a Florida kid, you get a Southern kid, you get a top 250 kid, 4-star kid, and you say, okay, now we're just keep adding to it. Now you've just got another voice. So when you're talking to Deuce and you're talking to Taylon Taylor and you're talking to these other top players, it's like you just got another guy in the board to kind of help make that happen. So I think all of those are positives for me because this 25 class, if Notre Dame can, and this is what we were going to try to finish on before we found out he committed. But what Notre Dame needs to do, Vince, is they need to be able to put the kind of talent on the field offensively that other teams are. And I think Notre Dame has a better chance of doing that offensively than they do defensively. Like defensively, in a lot of ways, it's going to be about you need to find the gems. You need to find the Julian Aguaras and the Tilleries and the Julian Loves and the Benjamin Morrisons, because for a host of reasons I really don't care to get into today, it's just defensive players tend to be guys that are just a little harder. The elite defensive players are a little harder for Notre Dame to get. And so you've got to be really on top of your P's and Q's when it comes to development and finding the guys with the I don't want to say projectableness or projects because people take that the wrong way, but guys that are like a Logan Thomas, a Cole Mullins, the Benjamin Morrisons, the guys that are not necessarily the high profile players. They have had better success doing that on offense. They just haven't done it consistently. They've had a class here, a class there, but if you can get this 25 class, and all of a sudden you've got back to back big time offensive classes. And then when this class arrives, the senior class will be the Jadarian Price, the Jabron Payne, the Eli Raridan, the Holden Stace, and the Tobias Merriweather class. Now, the reason I didn't say that was a big time class is because they came up short at some spots. They came up short at receiver from a number standpoint. But when you look at it, if you just look at pure running back, I mean, I don't know that I've seen Notre Dame recruit running back to back the way they have recently. I mean, think about what Notre Dame has done at running back in the last 6 cycles. Chris Tyree in 2020. Audric Estime and Logan Diggs in 2021. Jadarian Price and Jabron Payne in 22. Jeremiah Love in 23. Kedrick Young and Aeneas Williams in 24. And now Justin Thurman in 25. Like, that is big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And you need to be able to keep that going. And Coach McCullough has kept it going. And shout out to Coach Taylor for helping start it. But Coach McCullough's taken it to a whole nother level. Just a whole nother level since he's gotten here. And it's really impressive to see what they've done. And now you can kind of focus on – because it's always easier to keep a kid in the class than it is to get him in the class, Vince. So now you've got him in the class. Now you can focus your attention on, okay, let's go get some receivers. Let's go get another tight end. Let's go get a quarterback. And I think that's a big part of what they do.
Yep, no doubt about it. So that's going to do it for the offensive side, the offensive breakdown of the 25 class. And with a little sprinkle of an interview in
Yeah.
there as well. So you're welcome for that. And
we'll end up doing the defensive one probably next week, Vince, is when
Okay.
we'll do. We'll do that one next week.
Gotcha.
And we'll dive into that.
So stay tuned. Maybe there'll be an interview then too. I don't know.
Because we could dive into that now, but that's going to get like really long. The show's going to get a little long. So we'll either do that later this week or next week. We'll get into that. But yeah, he's this is a big one.
It's an absolute big one.